So Beth says yes. In order for Beth to get into the system, she has to go to a website of an active managing consultant. So she's going to call up Bob and say, hey, Bob, I really appreciate you referring Brian over to me. I'm definitely doing it. Or maybe Bob's on the phone or there while at a meeting while he says yes. Then what happens is, do you think Bob's in or out? Well, Bob's in. I mean, Bob is going to get in the business because Beth is getting in the business. So then when Bob calls up Sue and says, hey, I'm getting in and I've got somebody underneath me already, Sue's getting in. And then when Sue calls up Joe and says, hey, I'm already in the business and I got two people underneath, I'm getting in the business and I got two people underneath me, you in or out, Joe's getting in. And then when Mary says, hey, Mary, you got four people underneath you, in or out? I mean, this thing's obviously working. Well, instead of struggling to recruit one person and having all these maybes and getting pulled into that vortex of the valley of the death, what happens is now you're really, really excited about the business, and everybody's excited about the business because people are getting in. Then they gather those customers. Ambit starts sending out the $100 checks, and what happens is you start to get a runaway freight train, and everybody's trained on how the system works. Okay, at any point you don't work the system, there's a breakdown because the only way somebody knows how to bring somebody into the business is the way that they were brought into the business. And so what happens is that they have to understand what the system is, and the only way a new person understands the system is to be brought in through the system. So the system grows the system that grows the system, and as soon as you start doing one-offs of the system, I don't care if you're bringing them to a business presentation at a hotel, I'm having them watch the video ahead of time. Let me tell you about the business presentations at the hotels. They're very important to tie people into. Why? Because they go to the business presentation, they see 75 or 100 or 200 other people there, and it's a validation for them. So the business presentation at the hotels are a confirmation that this business is working, not only for them, for a lot of other people, and they can meet like-minded people. So let's say that Beth is a mortgage broker, and she comes to the meeting and meets a couple other mortgage brokers, and they're saying, yeah, this is a great business, this is how I worked with it in my mortgage business. So it's a confirmation that the business is working. So it's really, really important, in part of the system is to tie people in and get them regularly plugging into the business presentations and going to the business presentations whether they have a guest or not to support everybody else. So what happens is, what's the second fundamental? If the first fundamental of the layup is the written list, the second fundamental, why did all those people get into the business? Well, they got into the business not because they had made any money, but the fear of loss of the money that they were going to lose if they didn't get into the business. So the free throw of the fundamentals of how to build a sales and marketing organization is the fear of loss. And all the great motivational speakers and trainers out there like Tony Robbins and the rest of them will tell you, people move into action for two reasons, either to gain pleasure or to avoid pain. And the reason that these people are joining our business through this system is they're avoiding the pain of, what if Bob or Sue or Joe or Beth or one of them down there built a massive organization, became one of the top 50 income earners in Ambit Energy? Well, just the 6th level override alone could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to Mary. So Mary intuitively understands that, and Mary is going to get into the business and spend $429 to get involved because she absolutely doesn't want, on a $429 investment, to miss it. Donald Trump said it this way in his book, The Art of the Deal. He says, understand what the worst case scenario is in a deal, understand where the best case scenario is in the deal, and it'll probably fall somewhere in between. Well, the bottom line is the downside is $429. Don't do anything, don't get anything, lose $429. The upside is that you start to work the fundamentals and the mechanics of this business, and what happens for you is people start to get people who start to get people, and all of a sudden 10 people turn into 100, turn into 1,000, turn into tens of thousands. And you start making some serious money. You start to promote yourself through the ranks. And all I can tell you is, the way you're going to get promoted the fastest, the way you're going to make the most money, is to work the system that's been developed by the people that have made over $1 million in Ambit Energy. Don't try to reinvent the system. Don't ever doubt the system. If you're in question of the system, get with the upline. Come back and visit this website. Get more online training. Do whatever you have to do to keep yourself into the system, because what happens is people draw on life experiences, and whatever those life experiences are, they start to mitigate the system and say, oh, well, I found that this was successful. Well, it might very well be successful in Ambit. Just call your upline and say, hey, I was thinking about this. Somebody called me the other day about billboards. Said, I don't think billboards are a good fit for this business, but I'm not the person to ask. If you want to try it, great. I would rather see you invest your business, your money, if you're going to invest money in something, in these systems I do know that work. And so ideas are great, just don't go run out and do them by yourself until you meet with some success in the business.